The NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Game Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. They're coming to customers. Play just $5, get $100 bonus funds. Use promo code NBA SGPN. And welcome everyone to the NBA Game Podcast here on the Sports Game Podcast Network. It is currently Friday morning, November 7th, around 11 a.m. Eastern. I'm Rose Scott Reichel, want to be joined by Lonte Smith together to break down the games for NBA Cup action here on Friday. Lonte, we had one game yesterday. It was not a very good game because the Suns buried the Clippers in the second half, and the Clippers sat half their team. We have actual games today, so it should be a pretty entertaining day of basketball. You might be watching college, though. There's big game between Kansas and North Carolina. But either way, Lonte, how's it going? What's up?
Not bad, man. Thankfully, I didn't watch one dribble of that NBA game. But we got some good ones today. I mean, injuries I wish you could kind of turn the injuries off here with all these guys getting injured, especially, some of the top guys. But still some good action, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'll point out the thing about yesterday's game. I did like the Suns. I like the under that both got there. I gave out Royce O'Neal a PR on the Propcast, which got there. My play for the show, though, I did gamble. I went for a big plus money play or a big-ish plus money play, and garbage time killed me. I had Zubac 3+ points each quarter at plus 300, and he did not play a single second in the fourth quarter. So he got there getting into the fourth. He had a monster game, too. He had like 23 points, and they just didn't use him because it was garbage time. Nice win for Phoenix. They're getting their stuff together. Jalen Green played, had a very solid game. And for the Clippers, they used a G League team, and they looked like it. So there you go. But either way, point is Suns, a nice job by them. Clippers below 500, so not a good start there in LA. But bunch of games to get into for the NBA Cup. We'll talk about those games in a second. Before we get into those games, a reminder that college basketball, of course, is also underway. Make sure to subscribe to the College Experience to catch their daily podcast. Download the SGPN app for free picks for every podcast. This show included, Propcast, tennis scaling podcast, you name it, but of course, college basketball. So if you want some free college basketball picks, check out the College Experience on the SGPN app. Free to download wherever you do get your apps. So moving on to the actual games here for the Friday NBA card. Starting off with the first game, Celtics against the Magic. Magic are laying 3.5. The over-under in this game is around 225.5 for the injury report in this game. So Orlando's healthy besides Mo Wagner. Team has not played well, but they are healthy. Celtics are 4-5. They're pretty healthy too. Of course, no Tatum and no Tillman for this one. But both teams relatively healthy. Orlando, I don't know what the hell they're doing at this point in the season. Boston, we knew was not going to be very good, but we thought they might be feisty on the right night, and they have been, as they're 4-5. I'll ask you, because on paper, Orlando should win. It is a potential revenge game after losing the playoffs against Boston last year. But I really don't like betting on Orlando because I tried that, and Atlanta buried him with no Trae Young. So I'm not really interested in this Orlando team. Defensively, they've been a mess. Offensively, they've been better than I thought, but they can't guard anybody, which is something I didn't expect to say going into the season. I'll ask you because, Orlando at home laying a short number is tempting, but this team has stunk all season. So what do you want to do in this game?
Yeah, it's a tough game. I've having a tough time playing Orlando as well. But they typically play Boston well. We saw it in the last two playoffs. They played them pretty well, and that was with Tatum. So now I think the roster, the record might not show, but the roster has upgraded as far as talent-wise for Orlando. So I kind of like them in this spot. They're coming off 3 days rest after their road trip. They have not performed well at home. They've lost their last two. Boston's been okay. I think this is exactly how I envisioned Boston being. Heavy Jaylen Brown, heavy Jaylen Brown minutes, heavy Jaylen Brown production, and then kind of the ancillary pieces filling out around them. Josh Minot has been really good. I think he had like 20 in the last game. He's been solid, but they haven't been playing with a lot of pace. Boston's 30th in pace. Orlando does have some turnover issues, so that may come down a little bit because Boston's not going to look to push the pace, and I don't think Orlando will want to push the pace as well. I think we see an under type of game, physical, which kind of bodes well for Orlando and the under, which is what I like here. I think it's kind of correlated. So I like Orlando. I like the under. Just full disclosure, I haven't been really good on Orlando games, so take that with what you will. But yeah, I like Orlando in the spot.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, but I told myself after that Atlanta game, I am not betting Orlando until further notice. So this might just be a pass for me, but I think I agree. Physical game. We'll see what happens. I also don't want to put too much stock into what happened last year because Orlando actually played defense last season, and this year they haven't. Bane's been pretty terrible so far this season, and we'll see how long it takes him to adjust. But yeah, it's been an ugly start for Orlando, so we'll see what happens. But moving on to the next game, you have the Cavs, who are laying a ton against the Wizards. Makes sense. I mean, Mitchell had 46 points last game, so that kind of makes sense. For the actual injury report here, DeAndre Hunter's probable, no Lonzo, and no Strus, no Dean Wade. For Washington, you have no Koulibaly. The Wizards are really good at getting blown out in one quarter to sabotage everything they did in the first quarter. That's kind of what I noticed for this team. They're not bad for the first 10 minutes or so, and then they get outscored by 18 in the second quarter every time, and they just immediately get blown out. The Wizards stink. No way around it. We know the Cavs went healthy. Our solid Garland did come back last game, and we saw Allen play too. They're laying 13.5 on the road. They lost their first NBA Cup game, so you could argue that they might care about this. I'm not sure if they do or they don't, but they did lose to Toronto in the last game, the last game of this tournament, so we'll see. The Wizards, though, are horrific, and the Cavs should get whatever they want in this game. So it really comes down to if you're picking Washington offensively to score 110-plus points, because Cleveland's probably walking into 120. So you need the Wizards to get to like 110. I don't good about that. So I'll go with Cleveland. It's a lot of points on the road. I get that. But Cleveland at relative full strength with a pretty healthy starting lineup is enough for me. The Wizards don't really know what they are. They have some young talent. I don't know how well they mesh together. Apparently not well at all. And you got Middleton and McCollum, who are just veterans, jacking up shots. I'm not interested, and I do think Cleveland should dominate on the glass in this game. So give me Cleveland minus 13.5. They might win this game by like 25.
Yeah, I would probably go that way as well, but I like the over. I think you laid it out perfectly. Cleveland should walk into like 120 plus. Darius Garland being back obviously takes some like pressure off of Donovan Mitchell. He's not having to initiate and handle the ball as much. And I do think Jared Allen being back, we talked about Evan Mobley's usage. I think you saw that firsthand in this game back with both of those guys being back. He's kind of like slid into like that third piece who kind of can roam around defensively with Jared Allen back. He's playing his natural position in the forward. So they just look more fluid whenever they have their full complement of guys. So, I mean, I would look over, if anything, and both teams top 10 in pace. Washington's over in 5 of their 8 games this year. They also turn the ball over a ton, 30th in turnover percentage. So that's going to allow Cavaliers to get out easy transition baskets. And Cleveland, they've had their guys in and out of the lineup. So they're 20th in offensive rating, which is not typically where you see a team this talented. But, I mean, Mitchell's carrying them. 31.9 points a game, 57.5 and 45.5 shooting splits. He's been awesome. Cleveland's not been covering numbers as a favorite, 2-6 ATS as a favorite.
Once again, they've had injuries though, so they are pretty healthy now compared to what they were.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and Washington's 1-6 ATS as a dog. So, trading up is Cleveland. I would probably end up laying the points if anything, but I think we see a lot of points. I mean, Washington, they shoot the ball well. That's probably about the only thing that they do. They take a high volume of threes and they make a decent percentage. So maybe they can bombs away here and get close to like 110, 111. So I think that's what you'll need to get over. And I think Cleveland will probably push 130.
Yeah, unfortunately for me, I know I took this last NBA Cup game, which backfired miserably because Mitchell didn't play. But Cavs to score 100 points in the first 3 quarters of this game, it's only plus 154. Normally we're in the 3-1 range, 4-1 range, but I understand it. I can't take that at 154, but I think it probably gets there for this game. Moving on to the next matchup, you have the Raptors taking on the Hawks. Now for this one, Hawks are laying 1.5, and the over-under is at 236.5. Injury report, you have no Trae Young again, and you have no Duricic, who I think people didn't realize was on the Hawks, but they're 500. Both teams are. Toronto's played better lately, especially defensively, and they're fully healthy for this game. So Toronto, to mention the actual defense, they have allowed less than 105 points in 3 straight. Beat Cleveland. Cleveland was sitting some guys, but still only gave up 101. Beat Memphis, giving up 104. Killed Milwaukee. Milwaukee was on a back-to-back. Giannis played. They only scored 100 points. Now, the Raptors did have those last 2 games at home. They're back on the road. We did see Toronto beat Atlanta handily with Trey in the lineup in the opener as they won by 20 points. So I have a bit, I don't know if it's a Ewing theory or just something that I've believed in for the last couple of years, and I've said this on the show. I think Atlanta looks better without Trae Young. And defensively, they look a lot better. They've been good so far without him. And I think you're looking at a Toronto team that is starting to figure it out defensively. The scoring depth's a lot better for Toronto, so I do think that gives them some benefits here. Do I want to lay this with Atlanta? Because they killed Orlando, but I can't tell if that's an Atlanta's good performance or an Orlando stinks performance, and it might be a little bit of both. I'm going to take Toronto in this game. Even though I recognize the defense looks a lot better without Trey in the lineup and Jalen Johnson's become kind of a point forward for that team. Toronto has so many offensive weapons by comparison, and they're playing better defense. I think Toronto has value getting plus money, a small amount of plus money, when they won the first meeting by 20 points. So give me Toronto at a small plus money price. I think these teams are pretty even, but Toronto's healthier, and right now they're deeper. So I'll take Toronto on the money line.
Yeah, this is a good matchup. I agree with you. Both teams really, really similar, which is why I think the game probably should be like where it is. Maybe a pick, I think you could probably argue. But, I mean, Atlanta's 3-1 last 4, 2 of those without Trey. Toronto's won and covered their last 3. So, I mean, pretty similar to me. I'm going over 138, 118, I think was the first meeting. And I don't think Toronto particularly played well. They just kind of turned a lot of, turnovers in the offense, in the easy offense.
There was one stretch there in the second quarter where they went on like a 20-point run and the game was over at that point.
Yeah, but like outside of that, I didn't play particularly well. I mean, obviously putting up 138 points is good, but like just from a game flow perspective, it wasn't there. But they've kind of owned that. Pirtle being back actually adds some rim protection there. But again, I just think that the Atlanta front line is really athletic, is really good. So Pirtle could struggle there. So I think they'll be able to get to the rim with ease. Toronto also has turnover issues, so we could see both teams kind of turn the ball over and getting out in transition. Toronto is, well, both teams actually are 4-4 to the over, so not a ton of like overarching things to push me over one edge. I just think the game flow is gonna, be really, really fast paced, a lot of layups, a lot of threes. So I'm going over. I would look at, I don't know if we're going to talk about it, but I like Scotty Barnes, like PRA. I think I've been on that all year. In 15 games against Atlanta, 20.5, 7.9, 5.4 assists per game. He had 22, 9, and 6 in the first meeting. His PRA has been like right around like 31. I think that's really, really low because he's averaging like 20 points. So, yeah, I'm going to take his PRA as well. But I do think the game goes over. As far as the side, I would probably, if I had to, I would just play Atlanta at home. I don't really love it, though.
Yeah, I saw somebody mentioning in the comment section that Darko, Toronto's coach, is 4-1 against Atlanta, so I'll see what happens. But I'll go for Toronto just for more scoring depth, and I do like how the defense is finally getting into form for that team. Moving on to the next game, you have the Pistons taking on the Nets on a one-game win streak. Cam Thomas got injured 6 minutes in, and they beat Indiana. Is Indiana good? Absolutely not. So I don't know if that means anything, but a win's a win. For Detroit, they've been very good. Slow start to the season. Now they are currently 6-2. Duran had a 20-20 game, and Cade is doing Cade things as he has been really, really good. Detroit's laying 10.5 on the road. Over-under is 226.5. Lonte, I'll ask you, no Cam Thomas. You could argue makes the team better. Who knows? We'll see what happens there. But Detroit's been playing good basketball. There's some injuries. No Ivy, no Tobias Harris. Levert's questionable, and Sasser is still out. But Cunningham's been a man possessed. We've seen Sarr look pretty good. Duran's been great, and the Nets center depth is not very good. So I think Duran might have a monster game in this one. However, 10.5 on the road is a lot. I'll ask you, do you think the Nets bring any confidence back to Brooklyn, or do you think they get buried?
Well, I think it's intriguing that Detroit has struggled early on, but then they've kind of put teams away late in the game. So maybe you want to look at Brooklyn first half. I would look there, but that would be the only way I would look. I think the number is probably about right. So the thing with the Pistons is they've been really relying on Cade for obvious reasons. That's what you want to do. Yeah. They're off to their best start since like 08, 09, if I'm not mistaken. And Cade's averaging 28.8 in his last 4. Yep. He scored 19 fourth quarter points in back-to-back games. So I would look at Cade. I mean, I know it's early, obviously a lot of time left, but kind of look for him for like clutch player of the year because that's like clutch stuff. And it's not like they've been like middling of the pack, like the score, they've been down in a lot of those situations. He's kind of wheeled them back. I think about the game versus Memphis, even versus Utah. They were down early. They actually trailed at the half by like 1 or 2 against Utah. So I'm looking at maybe a Pistons second half if the game is a little bit tight. Pistons should own the glass, like you talked about. During PR is pretty auto bet right now. Brooklyn's 26th in rebounding. They're 6-2. Detroit is 6-2 ATS, 4-1 as a favorite. I mean, you said about the Cam Thomas thing. I mean, they might be better, but like when they need a bucket, like they don't have a guy who's going to go get it. So it's kind of a, it's kind of a tug and pull type of situation. So I can only look at Detroit in the game, but like I said, I think if you want to like do some type of cute thing, you can go Detroit first. I mean, Brooklyn first half, and then Detroit in the second half.
Yeah, so I actually thought about the under in this game because I don't trust the Nets offensively, and Detroit offensively has not been amazing per se. You mentioned that Cade's been great in the fourth quarter, which is true, except the problem is, once again, you need Cade to go God mode in the fourth quarter against two teams that have not been very good so far this season. I was going to actually consider the Nets first half because you were mentioning Detroit kind of messing around against Utah, not playing that well in the first half of the season. Detroit does rank 24th in first half point differential at negative 2.6. The problem is, do you know who's last in first half point differential? That is correct. I'm going to tell you, though, the Grizzlies are second lowest, or second worst, at negative 6.8. Second worst. Do you want to guess what the Nets are?
Minus 11.3.
They are minus 12.6.
Close.
So they are arguably double the negative point differential of the second worst first half team in the league. So they are lapping the field with ineptitude in the first half. So that's kind of the problem, is I wanted to go for the Nets first half, but they've been the worst first half team by a mile so far this season. So I can't really take that. I'll go for the under in this game. Then the Nets might hang in there, actually. I don't know if I want to lay 10.5 with Detroit. They had to have a nice second half there against Utah. Memphis has been struggling. That game was close for a decent portion of it. I might not mind the Nets plus the points, actually. I don't want to lay this with Detroit on the road, but I think Detroit wins. I think Duren has a solid game. Cade maybe has a double-double. But either way, I don't want to lay 10.5 on the road with this Detroit team. Anyway, before we get into the rest of the card for Friday, a reminder that we are brought to you by our sponsor, MyBook.ag, using to bet on football, basketball, hockey, college basketball, of course, and other sports. You also can use crypto for funding your account and get nice payouts with crypto. When you head to MyBook.ag, use code SGPN for a special 100% bet back bonus up to $5 for customers. Look at the G promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by Novig, the number one market for sports in America. Gives them great prices. Shop around. Novig does have a lot of reduced juice lines. Check it out. Available in 30 states. Download the Novig app when you do so. $50 to spend, just $5 if use our promo code SGPN and the extra Novig promo code SGPN. Welcome back, everyone, to the McGammon Podcast. Finished going through the first couple games for Friday. Time to go on into the next game on the card. Moving on to a battle of two Texas teams. You have the Rockets taking on the Spurs. Over-unders at 223.5. For the injury report in this game, a bunch of injuries for the Spurs. You have Olynyk, who's questionable. Sochan's questionable. No Fox, no Harper, no Cornet. For Houston, Adams is questionable. Still no Finney-Smith. And, of course, Van Vliet is out for the season. Houston, 5-2. So after losing two of their first, I think it was 3 games, they've been on fire lately. For San Antonio, bunch of injuries to the backcourt. And either way, we saw them lose a heartbreaker to the Lakers after the final 3 minutes took about 3 hours. But they ended up losing that game at the end. Either way, though, Spurs are at home. Wemby has not played well the last 2 games. You could argue that this matchup is not great for Wemby because the Rockets have a lot of size, whether Adams plays or not. Capella had a pretty decent game off the bench last time out. I'll ask you because I think I like the Rockets. Both teams have guard questions. The Spurs still have Castle. They still have Vassell. But without Harper, they were kind of lack a bench punch, which I thought they kind of needed. And Houston, I think, has the size to at least frustrate Wemby. Udoka, good defensive coach. I think we'll have some game plans in store for Wemby. Seems like a lot of teams are realizing what they should realize, which is if we just make Wemby's life miserable and force other guys to beat us, we're in good shape. And teams are starting to do that. So I do think the Rockets have a defensive game plan they can use. Almond, I think, can frustrate Castle on ball. Give me the Rockets minus 3.5.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you said. I mean, we talked about the switch of scheme that Phoenix kind of implemented on Wemby, and the Lakers did the same thing. When they got that win, shorthanded, but I mean, they're putting a smaller defender on him, and they're not really doubling him until kind of late in the process and making him make a quick decision. And the Spurs don't have shooters, which is why I kind of like Houston here. And I'll admit I was completely wrong on Houston coming in. I thought they would struggle like really bad without.
Well, we weren't wrong in the first like 3 games. Unfortunately, they realized, we're just more talented than everyone else, and they just started winning every game.
I mean, they got a great coaching staff. I mean, Ime's a really good coach, and I mean, I just was completely wrong. I mean, they're the best, like highest power rated team in the sport right now. They're really
give them over OKC.
Yeah, I think so. Until OKC gets healthy. I mean, they're just
okay. I was going to say, you could say without J-Dub, sure. Yeah. With J-Dub, of course, I'm still taking.
Right now, and then it'll take J-Dub about a month or so to kind of get back acclimated and back to himself. So like right now, like pretty close power rating wise, but I think I would edge out Houston. I mean, they've been really good. They've been winning games like coming from behind. They've been winning games high scoring. They're winning games low scoring. I think that's the tell of a good team is how you win games and are you able to win in any type of matchup. And I think they've been able to do that. And I think it takes a certain team to be able to beat Houston. You got to be able to be physical on the glass. You got to have multiple bigs who can contend and keep them off the offensive glass. And you got to be able to knock down shots. I mean, the Spurs are without Cornette, who typically, brings Wemby to the 4, which is how he's been dominant early on. And without Cornette, Wemby's back to the 5. The Spurs don't have shooting. They obviously don't have a point guard. So that bodes well for Houston. Like they can pressure the ball. Castle's he's not a point guard. He's more of a slashing 2 guard. Mm-hmm. So
he's a combo.
Yeah. So that's a problem right there. Amin's probably going to be on him. Vassell will probably, I guess he would take over ball handling duties, and I don't really love that because he's your best shooter, and you want him, kind of spotting up. So I mean, all these things do not bode well for the Spurs. I know it's probably a good spot, and they're coming off a couple of those losses, but I mean, Houston's 4-0 ATS on the road. San Antonio is 2-0-1 at home ATS, but Houston's been destroying teams. The last 5 opponents they've outscored by 19.2 points per game.
That was the concern, was the offense, which I thought the spacing would be a problem, the lack of 3-point shooting. It has not been. They've just been winning games.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what I was completely wrong about. And Wemby, you talked about his struggles. 9 field goal makes in his last 2 games, 9 free throw makes.
They're sending extra bodies because they're looking around and you're seeing either Vassell, Keldon Johnson, a couple other guys, and you're saying, sure, we'd rather have them beat us than Wemby. And right now, Sporting Cast not as good as people thought.
Yeah, and they can't knock down shots. I mean, Wemby can't knock down shots either. I mean, he's 2 of 12 from 3 in his last 3. So I like Houston here as well. This came up. I think it opened 2 and it got bid up a little bit. So, but I still like Houston to kind of get it done. But I think it will be a good game. I think the coaching staff of the Spurs will figure out something. Obviously, playing in a big game, Texas rivalry, so to speak. I think it'll be a good game, but I think the Rockets will beat them up on the inside. Maybe Wemby gets into early foul trouble because, again, you're rotating all those bigs. You got a man coming in the lane. Like it's just they have so much stuff to beat you with, and I don't think the Spurs can quite combat that with their lack of depth.
Well, the real problem the Spurs had early was that Wemby got into foul trouble guarding DeAndre Ayton, which wasn't exactly ideal. And then you ended up seeing him foul out towards the end of that game. So Wemby's been a mess in the last couple games, which is, fine. It's still his second year. He's young and all. But the Spurs supporting cast is really not that great. Now, it's going to get better, of course, when Fox is healthy. Harper injury is a big deal, though, because he was a ball handler for that team off the bench, which they could use. Even Cornette being injured, who they paid decent amount of money for, actually, as a pretty solid depth piece. And he's been out, too. So the Spurs supporting cast has not really impressed me recently. And I think Houston's depth is better. So that's kind of my thoughts for that one. Moving on to the next game. You have the Hornets taking on the Heat, which I believe is the second highest total on the board. It was the highest. It was 243.5. Went down to 240.5. Now, Heat are laying 4.5. The over-under is at 240.5. Injury report, I do see that Bam is out. Hero, of course, is still out. And Rozier is trying to avoid jail somewhere. For the Hornets, LaMelo's questionable. Sexton's probable. Josh Green, Miller, and Williams are all out. So the thing about Bam is that we know he's a good defensive center. So you can argue with him being out, that might actually help the over. Having said that, Bam's been one of their better offensive pieces so far this season. So him being out could hurt the depth, offensively speaking, for Miami. So that's why the line has dropped about 3 points. LaMelo also might not play, so we'll see how that goes. But I'm not really a fan right now of Charlotte with no Miller and potentially no LaMelo. Miami at home, I think, is intriguing, but I mean, no Bam's a big deal. I think Ware's an entertaining big. He can't shoot to save his life, so he's very limited when it comes to his offensive ceiling. And we know Cockburn stands under the rim the entire time. So I don't know if it's a good matchup for Ware. We'll see how that goes when he embraces the starting center role for this game. But you know what? Norm Powell's healthy. I know he's very good. Mitchell's been good this season. Wiggins has been very good. Shout out to Andrew Wiggins. But I think I'll go for Miami, but I don't feel amazing about it. We saw them face off earlier this year, and Miami absolutely curb stomped them. They won by 27 points at home, scored 144. So I'll go with Miami in this game. Will I bet this? Honestly, probably not. I'm not interested. I kind of want to see how Miami plays without Bam in the lineup, but it's Miami or pass for me.
Yeah, I like the Hornets. I like them even more.
Doesn't matter if LaMelo plays when you say the Hornets or no?
Not really. I think regardless, I think we'll get it. Obviously, I would want LaMelo in, but if he doesn't, we'll probably just get a better number. I think. And Miami's been really good at home. They just haven't been playing a ton at home. I think they only play 2 games at home, and the rest of them.
That's also why I'm picking Miami, though, because at home so far, a limited sample, they've been very good.
Yeah, I think, but Bam being the hub of that offense kind of like talks me off of it because he kind of does everything. He's your de facto point guard, obviously going to take on the best defender, kind of orchestrates things. Davion Mitchell has been really good as well. I think we forgot to mention him. I mean, and Powell, he's leading the team in points and 3-point percentage. He's been out a couple of games, but
you know, who could really use Norman Powell right now?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that team in LA, maybe 2 teams.
Yeah, shout out to Bradley Beal yesterday. What was he 2 for 14?
Yeah, probably.
I'm saying, shout out to Beal, who as the replacement for Powell. Now Powell's really good.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I think that the Hornets are. I mean, they're feisty, and they're accustomed to playing without LaMelo. I do think it's concerning that they like Brandon Miller just injury after injury. Like it's not.
Yeah, with LaMelo as well, who's already been banged up and whatever. Yeah. I mean, the Miller one's concerning, not even just because of the injury, but because there's no timetable.
Yeah,
like people have no clue when he's coming back.
And I think that's his shooting shoulder, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, they've shown like whenever both of those guys are in the lineup, they've shown to be really competitive. So I mean, I like the Hornets here. Let me ask you this. Miami's got Noah LaRoche who, orchestrated the Memphis offense, the less screens, the more ball movement, and they've been really.
Ja was still in Memphis right now.
Yeah, well, I think Ja's a part of the reason why he's gone. But it's weird. It's weird that the Hornets. Guess the Hornets' offensive rating. What do you think it is? Like just where they rank in offensive rating.
Well, they play with a bunch of pace, so I don't know if the rating's actually good or if they're just playing fast. I'm going to say that it's better than you. I'm going to say it's above half, but at the same point, not as dominant as people might think. So I'm going to go with 13th.
So Miami's 14th, and they obviously score the most points in the league. The Hornets are 7th in offensive rating.
That's better than I thought.
And this is without LaMelo for past few games, and Miller I think only played the first game and then half of the second game, right? So. Like they've been really good offensively. The thing that I struggled with is why they don't play well defensively, and that's kind of what they hung their hat on last year. And I think they got some good defensive pieces, especially with Kalkbrenner in the middle. But that's really concerning. I have to look deeper into it, but I'm wondering why. I mean, Charles Lee was really good defensively in his first season, but just right now they're just not playing. I think they're like 23rd in defensive rating, and that could be kind of opponent based. But I'm interested to see why that's the case. But I like the Hornets, man. I think it'll be a slower paced game. I like under as well. So Hornets and under.
Oh, I'm going to redeem myself here because I pulled up the NBA advanced team rankings. According to NBA.com, Hornets rank 11th. So take that. It was closer than you might have thought.
7th. I mean, in the offensive rating?
According to NBA.com, it says the Hornets are 11th in offensive rating. It says Miami's still 14th. So.
Yeah, cleaning the glass, they got them.
Suddenly, my 13th guess was not that bad. So there you go. I gained some spots. But yeah, point is, both teams pretty similar. Both teams top 5 in pace. Miami number 1. Both teams are top half offensively and defensive rating. Miami's 7th, so they play fast, but they still get after it. And Charlotte's 24th.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, you mentioned Lee, who you thought would bring a bit more defensive integrity to this team. A lot of it is personnel. LaMelo could not care less about defense. And Miles Bridges
but I mean,
does not care either.
Yeah, Yeah, they were like top half last year.
Just saying, you need the personnel to buy in. They were top half because LaMelo missed about 80 games last season. Like I feel like it factors in when your star players are given the freedom of not getting punished for not guarding anybody. It's been a free-for-all for LaMelo's entire career over in Charlotte. So as long as he's around, you could argue kind of like Trey in Atlanta. You're not going to be a good defensive team if he's your point guard because the team's going to sacrifice the bad defense for the playmaking and the offensive responsibility, which is not going to work long-term because they're killing you defensively. So I think Lee wants to have a good defensive team. I just think his roster isn't equipped to handle that. So that's kind of how I look at it. But LaMelo and Bridges together, I mean, that's just not going to be a good defensive team. I don't care if Phil Jackson's the head coach. Like, they're not going to be playing any defense on that team. So my thoughts there. I'll go for Miami in this one, but not really a strong opinion. Moving on to the next game, the Mavericks taking on the Grizzlies. Where is that drop? Because it's definitely warranted for this game. These teams stink. That's what I have to say about this one. For the actual spread in this game, Grizzlies laying 4.5 at home. The over-under's 232.5. So Dallas can't even beat the Wizards or the Pelicans. Not a good look for Dallas. Flag had a pretty open jumper to tie the game. He missed it, and the Pelicans ended up dribbling the clock out. As for Memphis, it's been UGLY ugly. It's been really bad for Ja, especially for the last couple games. So, look, we know Ja doesn't want to be there. Durant knows that Morant doesn't want to be there because he was calling out the Morant parents sitting courtside. You see that? You know what I'm talking about? I don't know if you saw that on social media.
Battling back and forth. Yeah. I mean, KD loves that. Like did you watch the documentary?
I did not. Was it good?
Yeah. I mean, he that's what he lives for. So
yeah, he lives for that. That's why he's a Twitter troll. It's his thing on social media. But yeah, the point is when Houston was beating Memphis, I did have the alt spread for Houston, so thank you for covering that. Durant was like having playful banter with Morant's parents, talking about how it's his last week here. Might as well pack up your stuff. Like, it's a running joke right now in the NBA that Ja is just going to be traded at some point and that he doesn't want to be there. Now, I'm not saying Ja is fully tanking his actual stock in order to be traded. I'm not accusing him of being Vince Carter on the Raptors. But, I mean, the stats kind of speak for themselves. I mean, he has been so terrible over the last couple of games. And, of course, the Grizzlies have been quite bad because Ja can't hit a shot. So to read off the last couple of games, just for reference here. In Ja's last 3 games, 14.3 points per game, 28.6% from the floor, 5.9% from 3. He's 1 for 17 from 3 in the last 3 games. It's disgusting. Now, Dallas is terrible. I'll give you that. For the injury report for these teams, you're looking at no Jerome, no Pippen, no Edey, no Clark. And for Dallas, Davis is doubtful, no Exum, no Kyrie, and no Lively. Now, the lack of size for Memphis is a problem in this matchup because even without Lively, you still have Gafford, you still have Flag, you still have PJ. PJ's been really good the last couple of games. So shout out to him. I called him out, and he's been good ever since. He's had 11-plus rebounds in 3 of the last 4. He's had a double-double in 2 straight games. So I might go Dallas, actually, not because I like Dallas, but because I want nothing to do with Memphis at all, especially laying points. Until Ja gets his joy back, Jimmy Butler should sue him for copyright because he stole his entire line there. I can't take Memphis. Like, laying 4.5 is absurd. I get Dallas stinks, but at least they can rebound. That counts for something. Give me Dallas on the money line, actually. I'll blindly fade Memphis until they win a game. But if Ja's going to keep putting up tour dates, I'm not going to back this team laying laying 2 possessions at home. Give me Dallas money line, as ugly as that sounds.
Yeah, I got no interest in this game. You asked me the last episode, what would I need to bet Memphis in? I mean, we didn't get it in the last game that they played. I think this is a big game for Memphis and what Ja is, like, what he's about. Like, is he going to take some kind of onus and play a lot better? Now, he's not, like, I don't think he's like tanking.
No, I agree. The issue is he can't shoot. That's the issue.
Yeah, I mean, and nobody around him can shoot, so they're just kind of boxes and elbows, putting everybody in the paint, and he can't do anything.
They're basically creating a Giannis wall, except Ja is not nearly as tall as Giannis. That's basically the problem.
Right, and so I think that has a lot to do with it. So while he deserves some blame for it, for his play and lack of like energy to get those guys going, I mean, a lot of it is on like some of the staff and some of the personnel around him. But I mean, Dallas is not good at all. I like under. Dallas is under in 6 of 8. Memphis is under in 5 of 9. Dallas obviously has some scoring issues. Under 105 points in 3 of the last 5 games. I can't trust anybody in this spot. I mean, Dallas is 3-1 as a dog, so take that for what it's worth. But it would be dog or nothing for me. But I do like the under. I think the under is like one of my favorite plays on the card.
Yeah, I like the under as well. For reference, Memphis has scored less than 110 in 3 straight, so that does bode well for the under. I like the under with you. I mean, that game against New Orleans was a rock fight. New Orleans can't guard anybody, and that game was first to 100 wins basically. I see J-Main mentioning in the comment section that Triple J 0-7 on his PRA over, so he's been printing. It's also why I hate this team. I can't stand Jaren Jackson Jr. I think that he, of course, has talent. I'm not denying that, but he's soft. He refuses to rebound as basically a 7-footer, and he is not a good passer at all. So if you're going to be pretty passive when it comes to actually getting rebounds and getting his teammates involved, I don't know what he does on the court besides block shots and occasionally drop 25.
Yeah, I mean, he's thankful that Ja's in the news for his play because he's
not getting roasted. He's off the hook.
He's been horrible. And I mean, last game he had 2 shot attempts in the first half. Jock Landale had like 2 shot attempts in 3 possessions. So I mean, he's just not being aggressive. I don't know if that's kind of like a stand for him. I don't know how long Isolo is going to last, to be honest, because it's evident. Like, it's not just
I think they've already mutinied. I just think that you could argue Memphis fired Jenkins, so they feel like sunken cost. They're priced into giving him a full season. But based on what I've seen so far, with Ja basically quitting on him, with Triple J being terrible, with the defense falling apart last year once they fired Jenkins, it has been a disaster hire at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to do. But again, it's kind of mixed signals because they're showing like they're favoring Isolo over the players essentially. I mean, they got rid of Bane. They're running. They brought in all of these guys. So it's kind of confusing, and that's a smart, like really, really smart.
Yeah. To be fair, this core has not won anything, so I guess they decided, you know what, we're going to try a different direction. But clearly, when you hire a guy overseas to come over to the NBA, sometimes it's a work in progress. There's a lot of work in the progress right now because right now he's not cutting it.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So there you go. But with Triple J not being really anything of value at this point, and with Ja being terrible lately, I can't back a team whose 2 best players have been just horrific. So I'm going to pass. Give me Dallas in this one. I like the under, though, with you in this game. Moving on to the next game. Fun game on the card. You have the Bulls taking on the Bucks in Milwaukee. Bucks are laying 4.5. The over-under is at 239.5. For the injury report for this game, you're looking at Giannis, who is going to play. He's not even listed on the injury report anymore. Prince is questionable. Porter is still out. For Chicago, still no Kobe White, no Zach Collins, and Dosunmu is questionable for this game. Bulls, 6-1. Giddy, really, really good. Besides that, they just look like they're having fun out there. As for Milwaukee, 5-3. I mean, they've been fine so far this season. Nice win without Giannis against the Warriors, and then they ended up having a couple games after that. Ended up losing to Sacramento despite scoring 133 points, which is not ideal. Beat Indiana on that game winner by Giannis and ended up getting killed by Toronto on a back-to-back. So Milwaukee started off the season very hot, kind of cooled off lately. They're still fine, but Giannis does everything for this damn team. The Bulls, though, are fun. You know, Giddy gets his guys involved. The supporting cast has been good. Vucevic has been nasty. I mean, he had the game winner against Philly. And they came back from 24 down. Like, this team plays with heart. They play with grit. And I think that's good enough for me. I think everyone will be on Milwaukee because they're at home. You have Giannis, who's going to guard Giannis. I get it. I don't mind Chicago, actually. Chicago's been very good, and I'm impressed with what I see. But Milwaukee, even with Giannis having great games, They lost to Sacramento. I mean, Indiana was a sweat. Indiana's not any good. That game was a war. And Toronto, they got killed in. So, not a fan of the current form for Milwaukee. I'll take a flyer with it. I'll go with the Bulls money line. I think it's going to be close either way. I think most people will be on Milwaukee. I think you might be on Milwaukee, to be honest. But I'm going to go with the Bulls. I'll be different. Give me Bulls money line.
Yeah, I am on Milwaukee. But I don't disagree with what you said. But the common theme in those games where they didn't play well, they were on the road. I mean, they're at home now. They're really good at home. They're 3-1 ATS.
Well, to be fair, the Kings game was at home, but yes.
Yeah. Well, the other two, Pacers and who was the other one?
The Raptors one was a bad spot, but yes, the home game though was against Sacramento.
Yeah. So I'll chalk that one up. And I think that's the one that they lost. I mean, they're 5-3 ATS overall. I mean, my thing is they just have to rebound the ball better. I mean, they're 24th in rebounding. They got to get some, and they don't have a ton of size.
Wait a second, they got to who's their center?
Giannis.
No,
Giannis is their point guard.
Who's their center? Who's Milwaukee's center?
Oh yeah, Miles Turner.
Yeah, is that a coincidence? They can't rebound when he's the starting center?
Yeah, well, that's a good point. I would think that they. I mean, I know it's kind of early to just be making moves, but yeah, they got to get a big body in to kind of get some rebounds and take some pressure off of Giannis. I mean, they're 24th in rebounding. Chicago's 8th. Vucevic is, like you talked about, been really good, so they have to do a good job of keeping him off the glass. But again, I think they can kind of stretch him out to the perimeter and with Miles Turner again, and that'll like negate some of the rebounding ability. But I mean, both of these teams want to play fast. They're both top 8 in 3-point percentage offense. I think Milwaukee may bury him here, to be honest. I like Chicago. I really do. Billy Donovan's a hell of a coach. I just think spot-wise, this is really good. Over is another one that I really like. Milwaukee and over at home has been really good to me. They're 4-0 to the over at home. They're 5-8 or 5-3 to the over overall. So I think we see a hot-paced game. I like Milwaukee, and I like over.
Yeah, so once again, I think a lot of people will be on Milwaukee. I know in the head-to-head they have been quite good. Then again, Chicago seems to have found some, I'd say, overall chemistry, which I appreciate. Yeah. I'll go with Chicago. I picked them to beat the Knicks in the last NBA Cup game, and they got that done. So the Bulls, you know what? They've been cashing people a lot of tickets so far this season. I'll back them in this one. I think it's close either way, though. I like the over. We'll see if Giddey has another triple-double, but I do think it's going to be a very fun game. I like the over with you, but I'll pick Chicago for this one. Anyway, moving on to the next game. You have the Jazz taking on the Timberwolves, another pretty bad game on paper. For this one, Timberwolves are laying 11.5. The over-under's at 232.5. Now, unfortunately for Utah, the tanking started early because Kessler is out for the season, so that sucks. Because he's, of course, a very good player, and we'll see if they trade him during the offseason, but he's done for the season, which means we get Nurkic minutes. We get Nurkic and Kevin Love minutes every game. So there you go. For the actual injury report, you have no Niang, of course, no Kessler. For Minnesota, Ant's questionable. What else is new? And Terrence Shannon is questionable as well. Now, I'm not saying Utah is good, but at the same point, Minnesota is not very good, and 11.5 is absurd. I think Utah can hang in there. We saw them hang in there against Detroit. I think Detroit's better than Minnesota right now. I was low on Minnesota entering the season. I liked their win total under at 49.5. I thought that despite making the Western Conference Finals, they really didn't do anything to make the team better this offseason. They lost Alexander Walker. They're relying on a bunch of young guards to basically carry the bench, which has not worked out at all, especially Dillingham. That has not worked out whatsoever. Gobert looks old. Conley can barely play. Ant's banged up already. They might bury this team. I cannot bet that. Give me Utah plus the 11.5. There's no chance I'm laying 11.5 with Minnesota right now.
Yeah, don't worry. I'll do it for you. I like the spot for him.
Okay.
It's a great spot for Minnesota, and I'm not particularly high on them as well, especially with Ant being back. I think he got his legs back under him in New York. I mean, he generally play well at home, but they're just 1-2 so far and 0-3 ATS. They returned home from a 3-game road trip. The Jazz struggle on the road. They're 1-4 straight up, 2-3 ATS, so not too bad. But I think.
Well, question: do you count the Pistons game as a cover or no?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Okay, because some books had 11.5, some at 10.5. So I wasn't.
Yeah. I mean, just depending on where you grade it at, but I think just mostly consensus. I think they probably cover more books than not. So, But rebounding has to be better for Minnesota. I mean, the Jazz are really good on the glass. I think you can probably filter out some of the Kessler stuff, and they still would be pretty good on the glass, especially on offensive glass. So Minnesota has to be better, more physical. I think you'll see some two big lineups with Nas and Gobert kind of to control the glass. I think the Jazz will have a tough time scoring. Jay McDaniels will probably be tasked with guarding Lloyd Marketing, and I think that'll shut off the water and some of the things that they want to do for the Jazz. And once that water shut off, it's going to be hard to climb back uphill with Minnesota's defensive effort, which I think will be on full display here. So I like Minnesota. I mean, early on, especially like first quarter, first half, but I think Minnesota really good win on a Friday. I think they win by 15 plus.
Yeah, I can understand when you say it's a good spot, but I'll believe it when I see it. This Minnesota team has shown me nothing at this point to warrant laying 11.5. Moving on to the next game, looking at the Warriors taking on the Nuggets, massive spread. You remember the first meeting of the season, Golden State had a great comeback, and you ended up seeing Curry go crazy at the end of regulation. Problem is, he's not playing in this game. Butler's questionable as well. Draymond's probable. I said this last game. Draymond ended up not playing. He might get ejected because Curry's not playing. So keep an eye out for Draymond to potentially get thrown out early in this game. Denver, though, revenge on their minds. They are pretty healthy for this game. In fact, they're fully healthy for this game. Denver has been good this season, of course. 4-0 at home, 5-2 overall. They won every home game. And the last two have been somewhat close. Miami, they won by 10. Bam did get hurt early in that game. Jokic had a monster triple-double in the third quarter. And they beat the Kings before that, 130-124. Point is, the Nuggets are playing well, and Golden State's missing a ton of guys. So do you think Denver covers this number, or do you think Golden State finds a way to hang in there? Because right now, I mean, Richard had a monster game against Sacramento, but they lost anyway. I like Richard. He's good. Kuminga played well, but you're relying on a couple of ancillary pieces to take massive leaps offensively to score. Not to mention, they probably can't guard Joker, so good luck. I think Denver might kill this team. But we've seen Kerr in different spots kind of get his team up for these games when they're missing multiple stars. So I assume Butler's not going to play. For reference, with the history that he has of injury, the back could be a bit of a problem. So I think he might be sitting. What do you like in this game?
Yeah, and we talked about that with Kerr last game against Sacramento when they were like dogs, which I couldn't understand. I mean, Sacramento, number one, but yeah, in this spot, I think it's totally different with Denver. They're undefeated at home, 3-1 ATS. Golden State struggles on the road, 1-4 straight up in ATS. They have turnover issues, which Denver obviously when they get turnovers and they get the ball in Joker's hands, I mean, he's just gonna find guys running, streaking down the middle of the floor or on the side or whatever. So I think this will be quick and painless, man. I think Denver buries him.
Yeah, I think Denver probably buries him too. If Denver won the first meeting, I can see a slip-up spot, but I don't think so. I think in Denver, I just think they're going to get pissed that they lost the first game. I'm not saying Aaron Gordon goes for 50 again, but I think Joker has a triple-double in this game again. Moving on to the last game on the card, you have another Westbrook revenge game. We saw him play Denver earlier this past week. Now he plays OKC. Thunder off a loss, which they blew a 20-point lead in against Portland. They're laying 10.5 on the road, and the over-under's at 232.5. Injury report for the Thunder. Dort is questionable. No Wiggins, no Williams, no Kenrich as well, and no Topic, of course. For Sacramento, Sabonis is questionable, and Murray is questionable. They paid Keegan Murray a bunch of money, and he's barely played. So we'll see what happens moving forward, but either way. For this game, Thunder should be pissed that they came and then they're blowing a massive lead against Portland. Sacramento's been kind of feisty. Are they good? No, but they're fun to hang in there. We'll see what happens, but I think the Thunder put this team in jail. Give me the Thunder minus 10.5.
Yes, OKC or nothing. I don't have a team in this game. I can't bet Sacramento. I mean, I know Westbrook's kind of ignited a little bit of more feistiness and aggressiveness in them, and that's kind of good for especially the guards that they have and the young pieces. I mean, Nick Clifford is really, really good. And he started from day one, and he's been good for them. It's kind of a Swiss Army knife. He's not Westbrook, obviously, but he kind of has a similar game. And I think long term, whenever they kind of make some moves and maybe get DeRozan and Levine off the team and they kind of go to the younger guys, I mean, similar to what Chicago went through last year whenever they got rid of those two guys and they kind of went on a run. I think that'll be the case for Sacramento. But right now, Not against OKC, especially coming off a loss. So OKC are nothing for me.
The thing about Westbrook, though, is that Westbrook has the energy, and he's clearly bringing it right now for this team.
Yeah.
But now you have Caruso. We'll see if Dort plays or not. But OKC just has a lot of guys they could throw at him. And we know Westbrook's still not a great shooter. There are not many counters for Sacramento once
Yep.
the Thunder ramp up the aggression and the intensity. And if Sabonis is out, they're not going to grab a rebound because Chet and Hardenstein are going to bury him on the boards. So I think OKC kills him in this game for this one. Anyway, to wrap it up for all the games for Friday, time to run into the lock and dog picks. Before we get into the lock and dog, reminder brought to you by our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. We're going to give out an entry in a second. You play Fast Pick entry, chance to win 5,000 times. Your entry pick higher or lower on your favorite player stats. And a reminder, they have a new offer for new customers. Play just $5 and $100 bonus funds. Use promo code NBA SGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. So they're off to a great start in college football, the NFL, and now they added NBA. They also have college basketball. If you do want some model thoughts there, give away cash prizes every week for tracking your bets in the app. Track 5 bets of the same type of model from a model that you build, and you can win 1K. Track 5 bets for a model that you build, and you can win 1K. And also, there's a discount code that we have with Rhythm. So if you use the code SGPN25 when you download the app, you get a quarter first month. Download Rhythm. Once again, promo code SGPN25 for a quarter off your first month. Welcome back, everyone, to the NBA Game Podcast. Finish going through all the games for Friday. Time to move on into the lock and dog picks. Lonte, I'll let you go first as always. What's going to be your lock and dog for the show?
Yeah, so I'm going to go to a first quarter that I really like and a game that I really like. I like Minnesota. -3.5 first quarter Minnesota. I mean, I just think they come out and jump Utah early on. The Kessler injury is horrible, especially for teams who kind of wanted to trade for him. So that's even worse. But I do think the defensive prowess will be turned up a notch for Minnesota. Ant was talking about, how they kind of need to get back to their identity and what they do well. And him being back, getting that one game under him, I think that's kind of going to ignite them to go on a little bit of a run here, starting with this game. So -3.5 for the first quarter for Minnesota. For the dog, I'm going to go to your team, Scott. And we talked about the first quarter, first halves. I know that's not been good. I'm going to take +190, Brooklyn, first quarter to win it.
All right. For my lock, do I want to go with props or do I want to go with actual sides here? Yeah, I'm going to go with sides. For my lock, give me Houston. I'm -3.5. I understand San Antonio is undefeated at home, but I have not been impressed over the last week. I think the Harper injury is actually massive because with Fox being out, at least Harper could recreate some of the quickness and the creativity. And now they have nothing when it comes to actual guard depth and guard creativity. So I know Houston's been great. They've won 5 in a row. I mean, they've been really, really good. All 5 wins by 8+ points. Spurs, though, they lost to Phoenix. They lost to LA. The 3 home wins they have this season were against Brooklyn, Toronto, and Miami. So definitely, I'd say a pretty average level of competition there. But the point is, Houston's the better team, simply put. Teams are starting to get creative with guarding Wemby, forcing other guys to beat them, and they haven't been able to do so. But with no Harper, no Fox, with no Cornette as well for another depth big, Sochan's banged up too. It's a brutal matchup. Wemby's the only guy there that's going to rebound. I mean, Sochan and Olynyk are both questionable, and now you're against, I can't even say Twin Towers, because Houston has 7 towers. So they just have a bunch of guys that they can use in terms of rebounding. It's a really bad matchup, in my opinion, for San Antonio, and Houston did me a solid covering an alt spread against Memphis in the last episode that I gave them out on. Give me Houston -3.5 as my lock for the show. For the dog here, do I want to go Chicago? Because I do think that Milwaukee is going to be in a very close game throughout. Or do I want to go for a player prop in this game? You know what? I think I'm just going to go for the other approach here. I'll take an alt spread. It's going to be a massive number, but you know what? I think this team absolutely stinks. And the other team's actually healthy for once. Good enough for me. We saw Mitchell drop 46 last game, so I do like the offense right now. Give me Cleveland -17.5 on the road at +145. Had an alt spread on the road with Houston last time out. That worked out for me. I was going to blindly fade Memphis. That was the runner-up, by the way, was Dallas, but that involves betting on Dallas. I can't do that. So give me the Cavs to bury this Wizards team. The Wizards are horrible. The Cavs might be pissed off that they lost the first game of the Cup to Toronto. So maybe extra motivation to get back into the actual group. So give me Cleveland minus the 17.5 alt spread at plus 145 as my dog. Moving on to the underdog entry. Lonte, anything you want to use for the underdog entry?
I'm trying to figure out something that we both liked early on going through the card. I like. I know we just talking about it in the chat. I like Gobert's rebounds. I mean, we talked about the physicality that they're going to have to play with. I kind of like his rebounds.
Yeah, I might blindly start taking opposing centers against Nurkic because he can't move.
Yeah.
So that could be an option too. Gobert has not been that good this season, but it's a good matchup. And we saw Duran have 20 and 20. I think Keita might have had a double-double against Nurkic as well. I don't actually remember if he did or not. But the point is, we know that Nurkic can't move. So Gobert is going to be sitting in the paint the entire time. I don't mind that. You can find his rebounds available at around 10.5. So I'll go for that. Do you want anything with Giddey? Or do you think his numbers are too high? Any thoughts on Giddey?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit inflated, but I mean, I don't hate it. I like Powell's points. With no Bam. The perimeter, we talked about the perimeter defense for Charlotte. So I think that's a good spot. I mean, he's averaging like 23 a game, if I'm not mistaken. So
yeah, problem is his points are already juiced up. His points are at, I think it's 22.5, 23.5 on Underdog, which is a bit high, but yeah, I understand it.
Yeah, one thing I've been betting and I love Scotty Barnes PRA.
Okay, we can go with that. I'm fine.
And Duran points and rebounds.
Okay, so let me just pull all those up for a second. I'm fine with those three. So for Scotty Barnes, you said PRA, so I'm fine with that. Let me just see what Underdog has it at. 30.5, so that is fine there. And you said Duran, you said PR?
PR, yeah.
Okay. So Duran PR for this one is set at around 28.5. I'm fine with that too.
He'll probably have 15 moves.
Yeah, for the record, he's had at least 29 in 2 of the last 3 games against the Nets. So, looking at the actual entry once again, the 3 picks for Underdog are going to be, quickly pulling it up. Okay, 3 picks once again for Underdog. Going to be Gobert, higher 10.5 rebounds. Scotty Barnes, higher 30.5 PRA. And Jalen Duran, higher 28.5 PR. Just going to wrap it up for the show. Back once again on Monday with Terrell and I. Till next time, find me on Twitter, Reichel Radio. Find him on Twitter at XXLonteXX. A reminder, support the show. Like, subscribe to the SGPN NBA podcast. Check us out on Twitter as well at SGPN NBA. Till next time, good luck to all of you and all of your bets. Bye.